All right, guys, Shotty T here with an Alliance War video. This is the very first war of the season. Of course, we're doing Path 5 once again. They did nerf it a little bit, so it actually allows me to bring Quake more. And I actually Quake the first two fights, the Ebb and Flow knockdown. So it really wasn't much to show here, but this is Warlock on the Power Snack node. So as you can see, it's kind of like a buffet node. So he nullified my first dexterity and gained like 25% of a bar of power. But once I have it up the second time and got my concussion active, he's not going to nullify the rest of the fight. So it just ends up being a standard Quake fight on the buffet node. So there's really not much to see here. I mean, of course, I try to minimize these Quake videos because that you guys saw. But at the same time, as I get more and more followers, hopefully you guys can just see the basics of the quaking skills against various types of opponents, because sometimes it's more so just understanding what the second medium attack looks like for an opponent when it comes to Quake and Shake, when to reset your heavy, because the combo length is going to vary. It's going to be a 2-hit combo, 3-hit, 4-hit, 5-hit. And all of those can end with a second medium. So the key is to look for a second medium to reset your heavy attack. So as you can see, this, like I said, there was a little delay midway through the fight because of the backup recovery. Instead of gaining a bar of power, 50% of power, he ended up just gaining health instead. So one more aftershock charge should end this fight. And by the way, the flow is the global node. So I'm pretty sure at some point we're going to be seeing stubborn. And of course, that's going to make Quake not as viable. But as long as we having flow, I'm going to keep bringing Quake. So just that simple. So Iron Man Infinity War, somebody else took that fight. And it was a great one shot. Because that is a problem node for a lot of people. But now we have the Ebb and Flow intercept. So I decided to bring Namor because the opponents are in this path, Korg, and you'll see the next one, because I usually bring Magic for this path, but of course have to deal with the thorn damage. Just a lot of things to think about. And the thing about Namor against Korg is that the thorn damage, if you have a high sig, and I have mine at sig 200, is that you can reflect all that damage back. And another thing about Namor is it's pretty easy to light intercept with him. So if you just start a combo and then back draft and just do a light attack, if the opponent's cooperating with you, they'll easily run into that long trident that he has. And it's low risk, because if you just do a backdraft light intercept and the opponent doesn't cooperate, they don't come towards you, or if they launch a special, if they're over a bar of power, you can easily recover and block it, or back or dexterity, or whatever you got to do to avoid not getting hit. So I decided to do that intercept, do an SP3, and I was too eager to go in and do a SP2. I should have waited a half second, because that's what I usually do before I charge in and try to get that SP2 in. And you'll see that adjustment in this particular fight. So I decided to do a comeback regeneration boost to get that health back. So with Killmonger, as you've seen in prior videos, is that he has that aggressive medium attack that comes towards you, the first medium. So all you have to do is just back up and intercept light with him, and you'll see it. You'll probably see it a couple of times in this fight. And again, with Namor being max sig, the reverberation damage also gets reflected back to him. So he's just he's a pretty viable counter for this particular path as well. All right, so for the most part, I kept this fight simple. I want to get one more intercept. There we go. So again, I did the backdraft light intercept, and again, it's very safe. So we go to the SP3 again. We manually trigger Imperious Rex. All right. Now he still got quite a bit of health left, so I want to try to get another SP3 in there. So I do a parry, heavy to another SP3, and then I can go in with the SP2 to finish them off. But again, I'll do a slight hesitation. It's hard to see it, but cause usually when the opponent gets knocked down, they're either going to immediately throw the special attack or they won't. And if they don't, then it's free to go in there and quickly. Like, you don't want to go all the way in there because they can still bring that heavy or special attack at the very last moment. So you want to kind of get a little bit halfway there. And because this SP2 has pretty decent reach, you can actually launch it. And as long as you get one of the hits in there, it's going to kill them. So now we got ebb and flow intercept with Annihilus. I started to do this fight with Namor, and as you see, it's linked, but this link is really no consequence to who I'm going to bring in here. So I decided to go with Quake, and the only reason why I brought Quake is because ebb and flow, previously it was 90% protection, and that made those fights, if you use Quake, last forever. But with the 60% protection and the 5-minute timer, it actually makes Quake viable in these ebb and flow matchups. And actually, when I faced my earlier opponent, I think it was Captain Marvel movie and Path. I think in the first tier, I think that was ebb and flow knockdown. When I knocked her down and I had the concussion active, I don't think that protection re-triggered. So that was kind of an interesting dynamic. So I was curious if I potentially intercepted him and then put the concussion active, would the protection prop back up? I didn't want to take that chance. I just decided to keep this fight simple. And I did get hit there, but the good thing about getting hit by Annihilus is that it's either going to inflict you with an armor break or a stifle debuff. And actually, since I have max willpower, I can just actually heal some of that health back from the hits. And I think it happens to me one more time in this fight where I actually get hit. There it is. So, but as you see, willpower just ticking it. So actually, I end up healing more than the combo took. So technically, I can get hit again and probably heal back up to 100%. So, but I don't want to get hit too much because it's going to put him over a bar of power. And I think I actually do put him over a bar of power before the end of this fight. But it was a pretty easy adjustment at the very end. But as you can see, I mean, I'm 2 minutes into the fight and he has 35% health, so I don't have to worry about timing out. So again, I love these 5-minute timers. And again, they nerfed it down from 90% to 60%. So Quake is viable in these paths as long as you can Quake for that long. So it's just a matter of focus, really. I believe the aftershock charge is still about 5% health at a time against the opponent, and then in Assassin's range it might deal a little bit more. And I had dropped my heavy by mistake, so I decided to put in another heavy, and I decided to just do a quick little intercept there, finish them off. Like I said, I can standard fight with Quake, but her best utility is the Quake and Shake. But anyway, next fight here, we got Mr. Sinister. We're at the mini bosses now, the right-sided mini. This is the one with the vigorous assault, like when he's healing, you can't block him, but I'm not hitting him, so not really worried about that. So we're just gonna Quake and Shake this fight. Pretty standard. Again, if you don't want to see this fight, you can fast forward through it, but it's part of the tutorial showing that how she can work against so many opponents. That's why she is beyond God tier. All right, that's the end of that fight. Now this next fight, I can't bring Quake into this one because if you try to stun the opponent, you actually get stunned. And also, if you try to stun the opponent when they're not inflicted by a poison or an incinerate debuff, you can't really stun them. But if you do, you can. So this is a perfect fight for Human Torch. And also, you can't gain power unless the opponent is suffering from a debuff. So this fight really had Human Torch written all over it. So decided to bring Human Torch. So again, you don't want to try to stun. You'd rather have the opponent hit into the block and induce a heavy if you're not good at intercepting or evading heavies. So, but once I do that, I can stun for a little window. And this path is, I think it's in that Darkhawk chapter in Act 6. So in 6.4, there's a specific path that has this exact node where you cannot stun the opponent unless they're inflicted with a poison or a incinerate debuff. And Human Torch was the MVP for that path too. So he's just an easy guy to bring. Of course, another viable person to bring for this is Sunspot. So there are some pretty good counters to this. So he's at 15 rock stacks. I want to try to bait the special so he can reset those. And again, we incinerate so we can stun. Don't really have much of an opportunity to charge my temperature that high because he has a pretty high limber. So, but again, this fight is pretty under control. And I knew the SP2 would stun him, but at the same time, he'll be stunned. So I can pull up his rock stats again, manage those. And this fight's pretty textbook. And again, you don't have to worry about timing out because you got 5-minute timers. But I'm guessing Kabam is doing this in anticipation of more rank 3 defenders for 6 stars because those are beefier fights. And eventually, whenever the game gets to rank 4, 6 star, they'll probably be in 2023 or 2022, I'll say, because those rank up materials look pretty crazy. I'm going to speculate that Cyber Monday, you'll probably have your first opportunity to get one of those like tier 3 alpha or tier 6 basic catalysts like fragments. So, and then 2021, you'll probably see more whole versions of it. And maybe when they develop Act 7, it'll probably be like a prize for that as well for like 100%. Or each individual chapter's exploration. So interesting. Now this next fight here, I didn't read one part of the node, so this fight could have been disastrous, but it's I think you have 20% limber, you have 40% increased chance of auto evade and auto block ability accuracy, and if that happens, they gain 25% of a bar of power, and you have brute force. So this fight is tailor-made for a Nightcrawler type or a Domino type. There's a lot of stuff to think about. So with Nightcrawler, of course, now he has suicide, so this helps that he's diminishing his health quicker, so I didn't really have to worry about the limber too much. But with the brute force, I had to make sure I put in my stuns and get my attack in there so that way I don't take that passive damage. So I ended up not taking a single hit that fight, but I lost health, and I didn't anticipate that. So it was kind of an improv Quake fight. But luckily I fought with Quake before on brute force type nodes, like in the previous type war setup on that all or nothing versus thing in tier 1, but we don't have that node anymore. But now we have the boss fight, and we're going to bring Human Torch. Again, I probably could have saved boost potentially because of the 5-minute timer. But at the same time, the SP1 for Dr. Doom, I'm pretty good at dexing that. But like I said, I'm not 100% proficient. So I want to try to have at least a little bit of a buffer in case I do get hit, which I do get hit. And also, there are going to be times where I end up taking a lot of block damage throughout the fight to help build up smolder charges. So, but we decided to go with our pre-flight ability and build those smolders and make sure that they're more potent, even though it's energy resistance is going to increase throughout the duration of the fight. And we got a couple of intercepts there. And I'm actually okay with dexing his SP2 if I have to. And plus, Human Torch is Incinerate immune, but it does a lot more damage if you get hit by it. The SP1, if you get hit by it, it doesn't really deal a lot of damage, as you can see there. So it's a safer one to try to avoid on a regular basis in case you do get hit. So it's not that bad. So as you can see here, I'm trying to hit into his block to induce heavy, and there we go. He cooperated, and you can get away with doing that whenever he doesn't have the aura active and you don't have a dexterity buff on you, because if you hit into him while you have a buff active and he has the aura active, there's a percentage that you'll get inflicted with a shock, and if you're in his close proximity, you're gonna get slapped with his heavy attack. So that was the one thing I tried to make sure that didn't happen throughout this entire fight, is being in range of being slapped. So this SP2 actually pushes him over a bar of power. So I decided just to be extra safe and just block most of it, because like I said, I didn't want to try to dex it and get clipped. Even though that beam is not as elongated as the SP1 beam, so you can safely avoid that easier. But the first two hits, the timing of it is not always great either, so those take a lot of damage. But as you can see, he's almost down. So now I got a shock debuff, and he actually could have slapped me there, because he could have slapped me right there too. I was kind of sloppy with getting away from him, but luckily he didn't slap me. I don't think he would have killed me with that slap, but it would have been close, and I probably would have not been able to sustain that special. So I guess it all worked out that I didn't get slapped, because I probably would have died this fight. But he's in Assassin's range, so we almost got him down. And if we get to SP2, that'll pretty much kill him. I don't think I end up getting to that SP2 though. Just one more combo should kill him with the Smolder, with the Nova Flame passives, melting him down. So there we go. So no items used this war. Of course, we use those boosts right there. And first score of the season, we won. So exciting. We didn't finish all 3 BGs, but the whole off season we didn't finish 1. So it's good we got 2. And you can see, look at all the double-digit kills there on defense. So it's kind of crazy. Shout out to Crispy J. But please like and subscribe.